It's 9:47 on a Tuesday morning, and Kian is on a Zoom call he's barely listening to. They are reviewing the Q2 roadmap. He's 38, works as a software engineer, and pulls in $140,000 a year to support his wife and 2 kids in a Dallas suburb. Mid-sentence, his director's camera cuts off. A calendar invite pops onto his screen for 10 a.m. Subject line, quick sync with HR. At 10:02, he's in the meeting. By 10:14, he is forcibly logged out of his accounts. 3 minutes later, his building badge stops working. Before he finishes packing his desk by 10:30, he's sitting in his car with a cardboard box and a severance document he hasn't read yet. Kian assumes he has a reasonable cushion. They own a 3-bedroom home with a $3,200 monthly mortgage, and they hold about $9,000 in a savings account. That sounds responsible until you run the actual math on a family of 4 and realize $9,000 covers less than 2 months of their living expenses. Kian expects to take a few days to decompress, update his resume, and land a comparable role within a month or 2. But the version of job loss his parents lived through has quietly disappeared. Everyone keeps repeating the same reassuring statistic. Unemployment sits at a healthy 4.3%. That is roughly where the metric hovered back in 2018, when the economy was objectively strong. But this dual-line chart reveals the hidden data point that masks the danger. While unemployment looks stable, the national hiring rate has plummeted to 3.1%. That exact rate ties the lowest figure on record from April 2020, the month the entire global economy literally shut down. Economists call this the low-hire, low-fire equilibrium. Companies are not necessarily conducting massive, headline-grabbing layoffs right now. Instead, they have completely frozen their inbound hiring pipelines. Job openings have fallen rapidly, leaving 7.6 million unemployed Americans competing for only 6.9 million open positions. For the first time in years, there are more unemployed workers than open jobs in the entire country. Keeping the job you have is mathematically probable, but the structural door to re-entering the workforce has slammed shut for anyone on the outside. Kian spends his first week doing exactly what laid-off professionals do. He polishes his LinkedIn profile and hits the job boards. By week 5, he has applied to 78 open roles. He hears back from exactly 3 of them, and 2 are automated rejections. This funnel graphic illustrates how the required effort has scaled over the last decade. In 2016, an applicant could send out 15 resumes and statistically expect to land an interview. Today, the volume required hovers around 100 applications for every single interview request. And out of the 78 roles Kian applied for, 43 of them were instantly discarded by an AI resume filter. No human being ever looked at his credentials. Even worse, roughly 1 in 5 listings sitting on major job boards right now is a ghost job. Surveys indicate 93% of HR professionals admit to actively keeping fake listings active for roles their companies have absolutely no intention of filling. Kian is spending 8 hours a day formatting cover letters and running through the emotional gauntlet of rejection, completely unaware he is submitting his data to automated voids and fake opportunities. By week 6, the severance runs thin, and Kian has to figure out the government safety net. Right now, unemployment insurance functions almost entirely as a geographic lottery based on your zip code. Look at this map of the United States. A laid-off worker in Washington state is eligible for a maximum weekly benefit of $1,152. But if you suffer the exact same job loss under the exact same circumstances in Mississippi, you max out at $235. Kian lives in Texas, capping him at $560 a week. But that $560 isn't entirely his to keep. Unemployment benefits are fully taxable. Come next April, the IRS will demand their cut of the money he is currently using to barely keep his family in groceries. Then, the secondary blow arrives. On December 31st, 2025, Congress allowed the enhanced ACA subsidies to expire. Overnight, the cost of family health insurance on the open market skyrocketed. When Kian looks at his options, keeping his family insured will now cost over $2,100 a month. Between the localized caps on unemployment payouts and the staggering out-of-pocket cost of modern healthcare, losing a job mathematically guarantees a massive monthly cash deficit for a middle-class family. The math on Kian's kitchen table gets bleak fast. With a $3,200 mortgage, a $2,200 health insurance premium, plus utilities and groceries, his family is burning $7,800 a month. Counting his state unemployment and his wife's part-time salary, they are bringing in $3,800. They are underwater by $4,000 every 30 days. By month 6, their severance and savings are gone. Out of runway, Kian logs into his 401k. He requests a $25,000 hardship withdrawal. Because he is under 59 and a half, he gets hit with regular income tax plus a 10% early withdrawal penalty. He pays roughly $10,000 in fees just to access his own PASH, walking away with a $15,000 lifeline. The tax bill and penalty take $10,000 immediately, but the long-term impact is more severe. That same capital, left to compound for 25 years, would have grown to roughly $136,000. This single withdrawal erases $120,000 from his future retirement. To understand why Kian is trapped in a 6-month search, we have to look at the macro environment. Since the rollout of advanced AI, employment for young software developers has dropped 20%. Major corporations are now using algorithms to systematically remove the entry-level white-collar roles that historically served as career entry points. Major corporations are already calculating the savings. Microsoft saved $500 million in its call centers in a single year by replacing human representatives with automated systems, explicitly citing the use of AI to create a lot more leverage on headcount. The 2026 job market is moving past a temporary, cyclical dip. Software is executing a permanent structural elimination of the precise roles millions of workers relied on to build their lives. 8 months in, Kian finally lands an offer. The relief is immediate, but the salary is $118,000, a full $22,000 drop from his previous role. Labor economists call this wage scarring. Taking a lower salary to escape unemployment resets your baseline for every future raise and promotion. When you compound that gap over a 25-year career, a single prolonged layoff can cost a worker $500,000 in lifetime earnings. And the damage extends beyond the spreadsheet. Research from Harvard shows that husbands without full-time work are 33% more likely to get divorced within a year. Children of displaced parents are 15% more likely to be held back a grade in school. Losing a job strips away daily structure, social contact, and purpose all at once. Surviving a modern layoff rarely ends with a triumphant return to your prior status. For most, it forces a permanent acceptance of a downgraded financial and psychological reality. When the financial crisis hit in 2008, Washington deployed a multi-billion-dollar rescue package. In 2020, the government pushed out a highly visible $5 trillion stimulus, featuring eviction moratoriums and direct checks. Today, that cavalry is not coming. Programs like pandemic unemployment assistance for gig workers, the expanded child tax credit, and enhanced medical subsidies were all quietly allowed to expire. The safety net was dismantled through slow bureaucratic silence, rather than a dramatic congressional vote. The day after he accepts his new job, Kian logs into a high-yield savings account, deposits $200, and sets an automatic transfer for $400 every 2 weeks. He is building his own cash runway while he still has a paycheck to fund it. Because the broad systemic safety nets of the past have evaporated, your preparation has to happen in private. The quiet, boring work of stacking cash when things are fine is the only armor left to protect you when they stop being fine.